So we just got finished really talking about the NC State and South Carolina game on the women's side. I just really broke that down kind of and being South Carolina just pulled away with that wins. Like I said, Ashton Watkins got 20 rebounds that game. Camila Cordoza, I think, was damn near 100. She was what? She only missed 2 shots, 7 for 9 the whole game. Had a little injury or whatever, but in the third quarter, South Carolina pulled away. NC State, it was a good game up until the third quarter. They came out third quarter drilling on them, going crazy. But South Carolina was the winner of that game, and it wasn't close. Um, and I don't think that there's another team right now that's left that really can play with them on the court. It's like almost unfair, really, on the women's side right now, especially. But you got to see, Don Staley's Gamecocks and Iowa's Hawkeyes. Do they make this a good game? Do you think it's going to be a good game, bro? Or you want to talk about this game a little bit? I really don't. Sorry, I put the slide up. I didn't know it was going to bounce into that, and I'm trying to go off the vibes and read the room here, type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So,
whether it's a good game,
what did you take away from this game? What did you take away from this North Carolina and South Carolina game on the women's side?
I mean, South Carolina. I mean, they play championship basketball. So I mean that's what champions do. They we talked about this on the other show. I mean, they undefeated regular season, and you're playing with the mentality like that. They've had a couple of close calls. Obviously this year, though you don't go unscathed throughout the entire season.
Right.
But I just think you are one game away from playing for a championship, and I think that gives you a little bit more motivation to go out there and try to get it done. So they play championship basketball.
Right. So I'm sorry I didn't get a slide ready for this next question I want to ask y'all and ask you, but if the Phoenix Suns do not make the NBA Finals this year, will they be considered? How did you say that?
It's a failure.
A failure. Do you think that would be considered a failure if they do not make the NBA Finals? The Phoenix Suns. What's going on out there, everybody? If the Phoenix Suns do not make the NBA Finals, will they be considered failures? Well, to me, I think if you want to say failure, I would already say that they already failed. Why do I say that? I mean, because of the past teams they had. Okay, so we going back. I'm going back to 2020, 21. Okay, Phoenix Suns, the 51 and 21. They're one game behind in the Western, in the regular season conference. Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Cameron Johnson, Landry Shamet, JaVale McGee, Alfred Payton, Frank Kaminsky, Abel Nader, Bismack Biyombo, Cameron Payne. Bruh, listen. And they did pretty well that year. So right now, to me, they already are a failure. Their record's not the same. They should have won the NBA. They should have been in the finals. They should have won the finals. If you ask me, they should have won it in 2000, the 21-22 season. That's when they should have won it, bro. They should have took it all that season. They were 64 and 18, number one in the Western Conference. Cut nobody F with them. They brought that new swag, that new style. I believe, was it Denver that knocked them out that year? Was it Denver? I can't remember. Was it Denver? Or somebody out there in the chat help me out. But they should have won that
year. They did. They did make the finals, but they lost to Milwaukee that year.
Right. Okay, so Milwaukee, right? I mean, but still, like they should have beat Milwaukee. I mean, come on. I mean, the team they had versus, you know what I'm saying? The team they had then. I mean, you just can't. They should have dogged them. And when that happens, man. They already so to answer the question to me, they already are a failure, bro. I mean, whether they make it there or not, to me. Now you can argue your point, and I'm sure you will. And I want you to give me some insight. Give you some insight. Yeah. To me, they already are. I mean, whether they get there or not, man, their team has not performed the same and as they have in the past. and they've been getting worse every year since then. They still have an amazing roster as is right now. You can argue that their roster's a little bit better. I mean, Thaddeus Young, Isaiah Thomas, Drew Banks, Royce O'Neal, Bradley Beal, Norkick, Grayson Allen shooting. His shooting hasn't been the same. I mean, come on, man. I mean, you can argue that their rosters is even decent and better, and they still haven't won as nearly as many games they have in the past. So that
I mean,
is.
that's what I'm saying. But when I kind of dig into it a little bit deeper,
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of looking at it because obviously, once you get to the playoffs, the rotation is slimmed down, but you still may have to turn to your bench, right? So I
Right.
was just looking, their bench is giving them right at 27.4 points a game. So I said, well, I need to find something that's comparative. Okay, what is that good or is that bad? Well, when you compare it to the Indiana Pacers, their bench is giving them 46.4 points per game. Now, that means that they balling.
Mm-hmm.
Starters and bench, they balling.
Right.
So obviously we know the Suns are a top heavy team, which is what really four, when you think about it, four of the teams in the West, the
Mm-hmm.
Golden State, Phoenix, the Clippers, as well as and the Lakers, right? These are top heavy teams where you have traded away your future for immediate success. But I just look at it from the vantage point of at least LeBron, they did get a championship. I'm not gonna call it a bubble title, like some people like to say it, but they were able to get a championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that, and we could go back and forth about whether or not it's the Suns or it's the Clippers, but I'm more so on the Suns because of, and you just gave me more insight when you look at the team that they had, because I wasn't just necessarily talking about the Chris Paul years. I was also, I was mainly focused on what they have now. But when you add that into it,
Yeah.
it's I'm not gonna say it's bad, but it's like you invest all of this money into it, and then you have a team that's built from the draft, like a Denver win a title, a Milwaukee win the title, a Golden State win the title, teams like that. Boston is competing for the title. You know, it's like, what are y'all trying to do here? You know what I mean? And
Right.
obviously, Kevin Durant, your legacy, you have to win a title away from Golden State. You have to.
Dude,
You have
that's
to.
that can he do it though? That's the thing. Like, can he do it? I mean, like he's been in well out Golden State for a while, and he still ain't put a ring on his finger since he left Golden State. Um,
And that's
and
why that's kind of my main thing about the Clippers. Like, I could go in on the Clippers too, but Kawhi was able to get a title in Toronto. So
right.
you were able to be the man of your team and get a title. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm not so gung ho or jumping on the Clippers. But I'm just looking at this. You got Bradley Beal now. Obviously, he's going into a different role. He's moving to a point guard role now. But we know Brad Beal is a guy that can put the ball in the basket. KD's averaging 27. Book is averaging 27. But, and like
That's
you
the
say, you got Nurkic, which is a good big. So you have a team on paper from a personnel standpoint that can match up with any team in the East or any team in the West. But to me, if you don't make the finals this year, because the West, I mean, obviously the Nuggets are still there, and you got some younger teams that are gunning. But at some point, the star power of KD and Devin Booker, y'all have to take over, and y'all gotta push this past the finish
yeah,
line.
yeah, you got to like we got to get it because if they don't make the finals this year, they
They're
definitely are. Because look,
they're sixth in the West right now.
don't forget they got very versatile. They got some other versatile bigs too. They got a lot of people. There's a couple people on that team that could play the 4 and the 5, the 5 and the 4, like Bobo. Like Bobo, for instance. Bobo's a power forward center. You know what I'm saying? He can go before the 4 and the 5. KD, what is KD? What is he? A point power forward center? What is he? Everything, right? He could play. You
He
he
can
can
do
go all over the
everything.
floor, right?
He can do everything.
Right. KD can do everything. Um, you know, To me, you got Nazir Little, small forward, another power forward center. I can't pronounce his last name. Yodoko. He's another one that could a big that could switch between the 4 and the 5. Um, and then you got Nazir Little. Like I said, he can go small forward or guard. Isaiah Thomas could be a shooting. Well, he could be a shooting guard or he could be a guard, point guard. Thaddeus Young, he's another guy. If you want to go to a big setup, he can be a guard or a small forward too. He can even go down and play the 4 if you got a small lineup, right? So I'm learning. I'm learning the game. I'm learning. Give me a round of applause out there. Come on now. I'm learning the game a little bit. So you got so when you see guys like that's very versatile in that team's age and experience alone in the NBA, if they do not make the finals this year, to sum it all up in a closing, bro, and I'm gonna let you close it out and finish. Yes, they will be considered a failure because of nothing, if nothing else, because of the versatile players they have on this roster and the experience in the NBA.
I mean, you summed it up. I mean, this. I mean, that's what I conclude on it. If they don't make the finals, they'll fail. I'm not saying you have to win it, but I mean, even though I really feel like that should win it, but I'm not gonna say that. But you do have to make the finals.
Yes. And they
Simple.
can. I mean, and they can. They have the roster to do it. Thaddeus Young can guard. He can guard the best 3-4s in the league. Come on. We seen him do it. We seen him. We seen him do it. Royce O'Neal. He's another guy coming up. Devin Booker. He can just score at will. Period. They got the team, man. And they got the team to do it. Quick question out there. Do y'all think it's Frank Vogel's fault that they're not as successful as they are? Does Frank Vogel not get them there?
Frankie.
I'm just saying. I don't know. But quick update out there, y'all, from my man South Coast Kane. He up on the 1s and 2s. We got him on the lower thirds following the basketball game live. Purdue 39, North Carolina State 33 with 15 minutes and 42 seconds to go in the second half. All right, close game. Now, yeah, we're about to dive into that game, I believe, man. We about to go ahead and dive right up into that game real quick up out there, man.